Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say, Call Halal Yahweh Ba'ashim Hawashai, Ba'ashir Mercha HaKudash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who taught us this truth in Ruwal, and Shalom to the hopeful elect, Yahweh Ba'ashim Hawashai, Ba'ashir Mercha HaKudash, Barakatham. It's the brother Kazak coming back at it again with another lesson. All right, and the title of this lesson is going to be, What are you truly celebrating? All right, and it's in regards to Thanksgiving, man, or as brothers like to call it, Thanksgiving. Okay, and this is a hell day, all right, because, these devils, they call it a holiday here in Babylon. This is a hell day, pertaining to the tribe of Gad, that is celebrated by you simple ass, a black and so-called black and Latino tribes, man, all right, and I exclude the so-called Native Americans because at least they remember what this thing is about. And they have the integrity to, refrain and use it and acknowledge the damage that was done to them. Even though they're lost in their different philosophies that they hold, concerning their, so-called native roots. All right. And I say so-called because the true roots is Israel, man. All right. You so-called Native Americans, no matter what tribe, you are. And I say that, pertaining to what they believe. Your true nationality is a Hebrew Israelite, all right? Either you're of the tribe of Gad or of the tribe of Reuben, okay? Reuben is, specifically the Seminole Indians, all right? And then the tribe of Gad is the rest of the North American Indians, okay? And it ain't nothing to put, one above the other. It's just what it is, man, all right? Pertaining to the prophecies and so on and so forth, all right? But this one's for y'all, man, okay? As another wake-up call, to come back to your true nationality, all right? Because here it is, all the prophecies in the scriptures are coming into fruition, and you still have the stiff-necked amongst our people, whether they be so-called black, Latino, and Native American, holding on to their broken cisterns, man, all right? Holding on to their broken, their broken cisterns, man. Basically these philosophies that, led to your downfall in the first place, man. All right, we're in a time of repenting and coming back to our power, all right? Who you so-called Native Americans call the creator, yeah, that's our power, the power of Israel, man, all right? Yahweh is his name, the heavenly father, Yahweh, all right? And his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, is Yahweh Shai, a so-called black man from the tribe of Judah, man, all right? This ain't no white man's book, okay? As the scriptures describe him to be a so-called white man, a so-called black man. How could it be a white? How could the Bible be a white man's book? Okay, so just get that out of the way. All right, but anyways, I was going through many articles, and I'm starting to notice, all these newer, more recent articles. I went from articles written from 2001, 2019, 2018, and they all kind of starting to hide away the fact of the slaughter, of the so-called Native Americans, man, almost as if these devils are trying to hide their iniquities, man. They're trying to hide their sins, their destruction that they did unto our people, man. All right, like out of this whole, lengthy article, the only thing that that linked, Thanksgiving, to what's it called, to the slaughter of the tribe of Gad and Reuben, all right, was this little paragraph right here. Now the rest basically goes on to say that, that they went to war with each other. You could count that in as well. All right, but ultimately, man, a lot of these things are founded upon lies, man. All right, so this article, all right, it has this paragraph which led me to, go into another article. All right, we're just gonna briefly get into it, for the sake of time. Okay, just to, touch upon the history and understand the history, all right, and that brings in a new understanding as to why this is a wicked-ass kingdom and why it must be destroyed, man. And ultimately, this place is not our rest. There is no land back, okay? It's more like we should go back to our lands, all right? Or Yahweh Shem Shai is going to bring us back to our lands, not these lands, but the land of Israel, man, okay? And we don't do that on our own accord. We do that when the Lord decides to, all right? When he decides, to get these prophecies rolling, which is going to be anytime soon, okay? And the elect get delivered out of here, the elect of the 12 tribes of Israel, All right, but without further ado, Salakia, not to be long-winded. All right, we're gonna get into this first paragraph. Okay, it says others pinpoint 1637 as the true origin of Thanksgiving, since the Massachusetts Bay Colony's governor, John Winthrop, declared a day to celebrate colonial soldiers who had just slaughtered hundreds of Pequot, hundreds of Pequot men, women, and children. All right, in what is now Mystic, Connecticut. Okay, so that's what, the only paragraph out of this whole thing that actually doesn't hold off on the true details of a Thanksgiving, man. All right, then it says, regardless, right, the popular telling of the initial harvest festival is what lived on thanks to Abraham Lincoln, right? So Abraham Lincoln, he's another a Native American killer, man. I believe they dubbed him the Indian killer, because he at one point held a mass lynching of so-called Native Americans. I believe it was about 20 of them, of our brothers from the tribe of Gad. He held a mass lynching, man. So that goes to show, the hatred that they have for the Northern Kingdom as well. All right, because you so-called Native Americans, you're part of the Northern Kingdom, okay, of the nation of Israel. All right, and guess what? These devils, they have a perpetual hatred against you as well, man. Okay, and the so-called Latinos. See, that's why, I had to include, not include, but exempt, you so-called Native Americans from this particular lesson when it came to those that are partaking in this hell day. All right, because at least y'all understand that this is not something to be taken lightly, man. This is not something to be in mirth with. All right, not something to be taken in ceremony. All right, as something positive. Here it is. You have so-called Black and Latinos. All right, being simple, being stupid. Talking about tradition and this and that. How about somebody close to them gets killed? All right, and then they hold a fucking festival over it. You know what I'm saying? They call it some catchy shit, for somebody close to them, and then when they cry about it, they get responded back with, oh no, it's just tradition. But that just goes to show the simplicity of the tribes, man. The lack of integrity on the tribes, man. But that's why Yahweh Shemi Hawashah is gonna come and, hey, man, the 2/3 is gonna be cut off and die. All right. So, anyways, going to the next article. All right, and like I said, we're not gonna read the whole thing. All right, but the article is titled "The True Story of Thanksgiving." All right, by the Huff Post. I think it's the Huffington Post. I'm not sure the true or not the true, but the full name of it. All right, but you see it at the bottom, the Huff Post. Okay, and basically we're gonna start in. All right, we're gonna begin. It's the idea of American Thanksgiving feast is a fairly recent fiction. The idyllic partnership of 17th century European pilgrims and New England Indians sharing a celebratory meal appears to be less than 120 years old. And it was only after the First World War that a version of such a Puritan and Indian partnership took hold in elementary schools across American landscape. We can thank the inventions of textbooks and their mass purchase by public schools for embedding this Thanksgiving image in our modern minds, right? Because that was something that was perpetuated all throughout the school systems, man. It was to the points where they would hold, little activities. You remember correctly, you'd be in the early years, the first grade, kindergarten, second grade. They'll make you reenact, how the coloners and the so-called Native Americans, got together and became friends, when really they was killing each other, man. All right, and really it was these devils that was killing the tribe of Gad by a lot, man. All right, they were slaughtering the so-called Native Americans, man. Okay, another thing too. All right, before I forget. Okay, is actually one of these things. Let me see. All right, let me see. It's a quick detail. All right, yeah, right there. All right, in this paragraph right here, it says a study published in the Journal of Quaternary Science Reviews estimated that disease had already reduced the New England indigenous population by 90% by 1620. Yeah. Okay, now this is pertaining to the fact that these Europeans brought with them plagues, man. You know, when they was on them boats, because first of all, these devils, man, they were not clean people, man. This is the base of men. Okay, these are cavemen. All right, before, you know, when we were ruling in Europe, are the so-called blacks, okay, which I'm an Israelite foreigner, but I go back to them. All right, guess what, man? We were ruling in Europe in decency, man. And these devils, these so-called white people, these Edomites were living in the Caucasus Mountains. They were in the caves. They had no hygiene. All right, then they broke out of that. You know, they came back into power in the time of the Renaissance. All right, but they were still some dirty ass people, man. You know, they would just put on cologne and not take showers. You know, some really, really dirty people, man. All right, so here it is. They came to the Americas, and they got a lot of the tribe of Gad sick. Now, to my suspicion through the spirit, all right, is that ultimately they held biological warfare. Okay, because it was no secret. You know, by that time the Spanish, you know, were passing out smallpox blankets to the North American, Central American, all right, and South American indigenous, all right, who basically is the Northern Kingdom. Okay, so who's to say that these other groups of colonists didn't do the same thing either, man? Who's to say? All right, see, that's one of the things that these devils do. He wants to put himself and paint himself to be the righteous. You know, like for example, you have the movie Pocahontas, you know, the Disney movie. You know how they show I fucking forgot his name, John Smith. I forgot his name. You know, but they show him to be the good guy. You know, blonde hair, blue eyes. You know, he's heroic, he's noble. You know, and the bad guy is that warrior Gadite. You know, that brave. You know, that Native American brave that wanted to rise up against him, man. You know, all over jealousy because Pocahontas fell in love with the devil, man. You know what I'm saying? That's just the distortion that they put on the history, man. You know, and they do that on purpose because who are those movies designed for the children, and the children are the newer generations. You know, hence why the scripture says in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 15, woe to them that giveth his neighbor drink. You know, that gives him the bottle. You know, going into these other philosophies, other, you know, distorting and deception, you know, because now the new generation is brought up with the fact that the Native Americans went out bad, man. You know, the Native Americans went out petty. You know, in reality, the so-called white man was coming in and deceiving the so-called Native Americans. They were slaughtering the so-called Native Americans. All right. It was getting them sick on purpose. All right. That's my, you know, suspicion. I speak as a man. All right, but I believe there's more to the story of 90% of the indigenous population being wiped out because of something called the Indian fever, man. You know, which is basically, you know, the Europeans coming in unhealthy and passing it on to the so-called Native Americans because, you know, they were just so weak. You know, that's basically the narrative, man. You know, but anyways, continuing on to the other one, all right, to the other article. All right, this one's in the Huffington Post. All right, so what does it say? All right, we can thank the invention of textbooks and their mass purchase by public schools for embedding this Thanksgiving image in our modern minds. It was, of course, a complete invention, a cleverly created slice of cultural propaganda that just another in a long line of inspired nationalistic myths, right? Yeah, it's a myth, the fact that that these devils and these Native Americans got together, became friends, and, you know, coexisted. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, how did they end up in reservations then, man? All right, continuing on, and it says the first Thanksgiving Day did occur in the year 1637. But it was nothing like our Thanksgiving today. On that day, Massachusetts colony governor John Winthrop proclaimed such a Thanksgiving to celebrate the safe return of a band of heavily armed hunters, all colonial volunteers. All right, so all of them are Edomites. All right, they had just returned from their journey to what is now Mystic, Connecticut, where they massacred 700 Pequot Indians. All right, 700 Indians, men, women, and children, all murdered. Exactly, that's what they were doing, man. All right, that's what they were doing. They was massacring you tribes. All right, there was putting that biological warfare upon you tribes. Okay, that's what it is when they spread, illnesses and disease in hopes that they destroy you. That's what these devils did, man. All right, and you want to believe the history books? You want to believe the narratives? No, man, these devils were doing some wicked stuff to y'all, man. Okay, so continuing on, let me see. All right, yeah, this is basically this is going into more things. Okay, now the rest of the article is pretty lengthy. All right, so I'm gonna skip down, to the bottom. But if you want to read it, all right, basically to summarize, it basically goes into how these Europeans were, deceiving the tribe of Gad, the so-called Native Americans, out of their land. You know what I'm saying? They would hold these trades, and they would, because Gad didn't, they didn't really, deal with owning land, like that. They weren't into, okay, this is my property, I'm gonna buy it, and this is what I gave for it, and this is the deed. They weren't into that type of culture. That wasn't part of their culture. So when these devils came, they did a little trade, and they kicked them out their own land through the trade. It was a wicked deception, man. It was thievery at the end of the day. It was robbery. How, basically here it is, the tribe of Gad, they thought, okay, so they're giving us these they're giving us these beads, all right, and in return we're going to let them, use the island of Manhattan to, dwell in there, and they could, basically live there, but it doesn't mean that they're gonna live exclusively there, that they're just gonna, live there, hunt there, fish there, so on and so forth, because Gad didn't really get down like that, but here it is, they okay, so we could have the, these devils were like, okay, so we're gonna take, the island of what the fuck, what island was it? Long Island. Let me see you again. All right, yeah, Manhattan Island. All right, yeah, we're gonna take that island, and we're gonna close them off to it. It's supposed to be a joint thing, so to speak. All right, but that's what you call robbery, man. Okay, and the scriptures condemn this devil. That's why he has to go through so much lengths to, in his newer articles, leave out a lot of the, damage that and deception and robbery that he was doing into the so-called Native Americans, man. That's why I had to literally look up the governor's name, John Winthrop. All right, and it led me back to an article written in 2010, man. Okay, so yeah, it just goes to show you these devils are trying to hide their iniquities. How they put in the textbooks that, that so-called black people weren't slaves, they were just migrant workers. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they're trying to do. All right, but hey, they're not gonna go unpunished, man. All right, Yahweh Shemi Hawashai, it has everything in record. Okay, so all this, you know what I'm saying, all these efforts to, hide and blot away, what truly happened, all right, it's all in vain. Okay, so let me see. All right, let me see anything else I could bring out through the spirit. That's basically it on that. Basically these Edomites were, stealing the land out of the tribe of Gad. And then the tribe of Gad would get mad, or when he would, want his lands back, they were met with violence, man. Because that's how this devil is. He's treacherous. All right, that's why scripture says, never trust thine enemy. All right, so continuing on, and it reads, all right, did the pilgrims share the Thanksgiving meal with the local Indians, the Wampanoag and the Pequot? No, that never happened. That is until the inclusion in the Thanksgiving story in 1890. So it wasn't until 1890 that they were, pushing out in the elementary schools that Thanksgiving was something that was shared between the tribe of Gad and these Edomites, man. That never happened. Even before then, everybody knew, nah, man, that's when we was, that's when the Edomites was killing the Native Americans, man. That's when that happened. All right, that's what really happened. Okay, so continue on, and it says, let the Wampanoag be a lesson to us, especially in these troubled economic times. These particular Indians with a bent for colorful jewelry had their tribal name altered slightly by the Dutch, all right, who then used it as a reference for all Indian payments, hence wampum. Contrary to what we've been shown in our Western movies, this word wampum and its economic meaning never made it out of New England, right? Because they were just using, basically they was just stealing from the tribe of Gad, man. All right. Oh, okay. So these are your little, your little payments. Okay. Yeah. Look. We got these beads. All right. And you're gonna let us have those lands. All right. And they basically took advantage of the fact that Native Americans would, if you gave them an offering, they would let you use those lands to live and hunt and basically for your livelihood, but it's not to actually own the land. But what these devils did is they did that in order to get in there, own the land, and kick the Gadites out. And if the Gadites, wanted to buck up, or if the Gadites, which not even buck up, but if the Gadites were basically, what's it called, stand up for their lands, basically, right? They would get slaughtered. Okay, so and hence that's why it finishes up over here. Unlike wampum, Thanksgiving Day was. It's like a Thanksgiving Day has indeed spread across the continent. It would serve us well to remember that it wasn't until the victorious colonial militia returned from their slaughter of the Pequot that the new Americans began their now time honored and cherished Thanksgiving. All right, and then it ends off with the enjoy your turkey. So that's the true history. All right, of Thanksgiving, man. Okay, that's the true history of Thanksgiving, the slaughter of the tribe of Gad, the biological warfare against the tribe of Gad. And I say, the biological warfare because I believe that's what really happened, man. All right, ain't no way that, Gad, however strong he may be, got sick just being around no devils, man. No, I believe through the Spirit, these devils were pushing out them smallpox blankets. All right, and if it did happen that way, it was all through the judgment of the Lord, anyways, man. All right, because that's the time we were being destroyed. That's the time when our destruction was at a pinnacle. All right, because ultimately what happened, okay, was the Northern Kingdom was being slaughtered. The Northern Kingdom was being enslaved in many parts. All right, but let's not forget the so-called Negroes. In what was that? I forgot the exact date, but let's not forget about the so-called Negroes, how they were stolen from the west coast of Africa and brought over here on slave ships to work the land as well. So that's what happened as a judgment to our people, man. Okay, but we're now getting ready to be delivered. All right, with everything that's going on. All right, Russia and Ukraine. Okay, China, Taiwan, which really they about to go to war with America. All right, that's what's gonna happen in the near future. All right, this is all pointing towards prophecy, man. Okay, and we're gonna go with this, the Book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 22, and it reads, "The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion." Right? Yeah, O daughter of Zion, the punishment of our iniquity. Right? That's the reason why we've been jacked up all these years, man, all these centuries. All right, because we were being punished from on high, because we got to return and turn back to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Okay, continuing on, and it reads, "He will no more carry thee away into captivity, and he will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom, he will discover thy sins." Exactly. All right. Yeah, even though these devils try to cover things up, exactly how they try to cover up with the so-called Negroes, man. All right, guess what? It's all going to be brought out. All right, that's why the scripture says in the book of Obadiah, All right, what does it say, man? All right, let me see. Yeah, Obadiah chapter 1 and 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Right, because this is the devil, man. All right, and right now, pursuing the book of Job, chapter 9 and 24, the earth is given into his hands. Therefore, he has the control and the power to control the narrative, man. All right, he has control and power over the narrative as far as what is being pushed out to these Babylonians in the mainstream media. All right, but hey, guess what? Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is putting the spirit on his prophets to come out with the truth, man. Okay, and even in the world, certain articles will be brought out. You know what I'm saying? Certain articles will be made. Whether it be Gadites, whether it be other people, out there, just shedding some light into the real events that happen to our people. And not just our people, but just in the grand scheme of things, things that are being brought out in truth, so that the men that are inspired by the Ruach HaKodesh, that is the Holy Spirit, could come out and tie it into the scriptures and into the prophecies, man. Okay, so I'm gonna read this again. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Right, and just like his secret plans for his new enterprise, guess what? Him covering up his sins and his evil deeds that he has done to our people, all right, is being brought out as well, man. All right, continuing on, verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. All right, so like that's going into something else. That's basically going into these other nations, turning against them. All right, I'm gonna finish reading this as well. All right, it says, and prevailed against thee, they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is none understanding in them. Right, these other nations are about to turn on Esau, man. That's why you got all these other countries, all right, so-called Chinese, the so-called Persians, all right, the Iranians, all right, Esau's, the so-called white man's is here in Babylon, his estranged brother, the Russians, the Medes, as the scriptures calls them, they about to shoot this place up with missiles, man. And that's that confederation, the book of Psalm chapter 83, being brought to naught, man. All right, because that confederation was these heathens, all right, banding together against us. What other nations came to the aid of the so-called Native Americans, man? All right, so-called Negroes, when they was being brought over here on slave ships. What other nation came and said, no, we should put a stop to it? None, man. They all profited off this destruction. They all profited off our genocide and destruction. Okay, and slavery. All right, therefore they all have to pay. Okay, that's the problem, man. You got the so-called Native Americans. A lot of them, they ain't looking for that, man. They just want America back. Like they really think that protesting and trying to make a movement and get some type of momentum to get this land back is gonna do anything. This land is polluted, man. All right, by the blood of your ancestors. And the only way it's going to be cleansed is by those that shed the blood of your ancestors for their blood to be shed on this side, man. All right. But that's only going to happen by way of the ICBM missiles hitting this place, man. All right. So anyways, continuing on. And we're going to jump up to verse 4. All right. Now put this as a I'm going to start at verse 4 to basically be an indicator that the so-called white man is an Edomite. All right. And this is one of the indicators. Verse 4, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. Right. Now, yeah, you see, certain Native Americans, they call themselves eagles and whatnot. This don't apply to them, man. All right. This is talking about these Edomites, these so-called white people, man, because what is there in all throughout history? What has been their consistent symbol, man? The eagle, the Roman eagle, even in Nazi Germany, they had eagles. You know what I'm saying? Even and now here in Babylon, they got eagles, man. All right. And in all these, modern flags that they have all throughout Europe, Russia, and so on and so forth. All right. Where these Edomites dwell in, you'll see nothing but eagles. Okay. So anyways, continuing on, and it says, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, said Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Exactly. All right, that's going into all their technological achievements that they have been able to do. All right, all their technological advancements that they have achieved, they're still going to go down, man. It doesn't matter if they got rail guns or laser guns and so on and so forth, man. Because at the end of the day, that stuff is not going to hold the power to the hosts, meaning the armies of Yahweh Shem Yahushai that's coming from on high. Okay? Pursuant to Isaiah chapter 66 and 15. All right, verse 5. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave grapes? Right, this was really the verse before, verse 6 that I brought out. All right, I thought it was kind of switched around. All right, but that basically go into saying that these devils have an insatiable thirst, man. Here it is, they done stole the so-called Negroes from the west coast of Africa. They done stole the Americas, all right, the North, Central, and South America from the Northern Kingdom. All right, possessing the fatness and the fruit of the land, concerning all the resources and all the precious materials. They hold power over the tribes. They built up their country to be what it is now, right? But they still want more. Now they're trying to implement a new enterprise where they're going to come out with their device, the CHIP, so that they could have complete power over the people, man. Why? Because these devils want to be as the Most High. All right, but they're going to be taken down. Okay, it just goes to show, this is one of those scriptures that show you that they have an insatiable thirst, man. And everything they do, they rob it, man. All right, these are the thieves, these are the robbers. All right, that's why the scriptures say in the book of Zechariah, chapter, let me see. All right, that's why it says in the book of Zechariah chapter 5 and 3. Hold on, let me get it straight. All right, got to drink some of this water. All right, that's why it says, we're going to start from the top. All right, it says, then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. Right, now this is talking about a chariot. All right, a cloud in the scriptures, or what people, would more identify this with a so-called UFO. All right, that's what the angels traveling. Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, so-called Native Americans, they would look up to the so-called UFOs and say, oh, those are our star brothers, man, because there was a connection, because y'all are part of Israel, man. Okay, and in this same manner, all right, the same manner that Yahushai, who the world only calls Jesus Christ, how he got beamed up into the chariot. All right, the same manner are the elect of Israel. All right, the 1/3 remnant going to get beamed up as well, man. Okay, so verse 2. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll, the length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. All right, verse 3. Then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. All right, and the reason why I'm bringing this out, okay, is because it goes to show that there is a recompense coming to the so-called white man for what he did, man. All right, for what he did to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. All right, so continuing on, and it says, what does it say? All right, I'm going to read verse 3 again. Okay, so then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. Right, and it's a curse unto these devils, man. It's a curse unto these devils, because here it is, they done stole everything. They trying to implement and establish their reign forever. All right, but guess what? They're going to be visited, man. All right, they're going to be visited. Continuing on, and it says, for everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it. And did not these devils steal? Did not these devils steal the land from the so-called Native Americans? All right, all the resources, everything that was in it. All right, and just kept on pushing the tribe of Gad out. How many treaties did the United States government break with the tribe of Gad, man? With the so-called Native Americans? How many treaties did they not keep? Did they break? It's numbered in the hundreds, man. All right, so continuing on in the reads, for everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it. Right, and the majority of these treaties were basically to take their lands, man. That's what it was for, to take their lands. Okay? To take their lands, and the only thing that was probably the only thing that was honored in the treaty. Esau keeping the land, but Gad not getting what was promised unto him for whatever it was. You know? So that just goes to show the track record of these devils, man. All right? Continuing on, and it says, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. Right? And do not these devils swear that they're, you know, the righteous, right? Isn't not written in the dollar bill, in God we trust. This is a God-fearing country, right? Well, that part's not written in the dollar bill, but you know, isn't that always a notion that's pushed out amongst these Americans, right? That this is a God-fearing country. All right, yet this place was founded upon witchcraft. This place was founded upon murder, theft, and robbery, man, and the slavery. Okay. So continuing on, and yeah, you do have certain articles that push out and bring out how the so-called Native Americans were sold into slavery, man. They were used as slaves, you know. So that goes to show even the Northern Kingdom went through it, man. All right. So continuing on, verse 4. And I'll bring it forth, saith Yahweh Shem Yahushua of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief. Right. So these chariots, all right, is going to enter into the house of the thief. Okay, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name. Right. Going into, you know, how these devils, you know, like to proclaim themselves to be the righteous and proclaim themselves, you know, to be the chosen people. You know, the one tribe among them, you know, Amalek. You know, that's what the scriptures call. That's the true, you know, tribe. All right, not the biblical nationality, because they're Edomites. All right, see, in that sense, crazy. You know, the wind is picking up on that. You know, but that's the real tribe of Edomites. You know, that's the true identity of those that claim to be the chosen people, man. You know, that's out there right now in our lands. All right, in the land of Israel. All right, claiming to be the people of this book, but they're not. Okay, they're Edomites of the tribe of the tribe of Amalek. Okay, so continuing on in the reason, into the house of him that swear falsely by my name, and it shall, and that's another example of that. All right, because these devils, they swear like they're the, you know, like they're the righteous people. They swear like they're a God-fearing nation. All right, but they're not, man. They're the devil that the Bible speaks of. All right, they are the wicked. Okay, and you see it by his track records. You see it by his deeds, by everything that he has done. All right, here it is. You know, it's been exposed what Thanksgiving is about. You know, what some of these holidays are about, and they still push Thanksgiving out to the people, man. They still promote it as an American holiday. You know, as an American ceremony, as something that's positive, when it was founded upon death and destruction, man. You know, when it was founded upon genocide. You know, but that goes to show you these people are hypocrites, man. All right, which that's going to lead to the next scripture. All right, but anyway, it says, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely, and it shall remain in the midst of the house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. Right. Because this place is going to be destroyed, man. All right. That's why in the book of Micah, chapter, let me see. Not this one. That's why it says in the book of Micah, chapter 2 and 10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. Right. Because this place is sanctioned to be destroyed. If you want to stay here, you're going to be destroyed with it, man. You should not be looking to stay here, man. All right. And if any so-called Native Americans watch this video, this goes out to you, man. You should not be looking to stay here, man. You should be looking to be delivered from here, to be set back in our true lands, the land of Israel. All right. Because that's who we are. We are the Hebrew Israelites. Okay. So-called black, so-called Latino, and so-called Native Americans. We are the Hebrew Israelites. All right. And this polluted land, Here it is. You wanna keep the lands where they're doing all manner of odious works of witchcraft, where they're doing all manner of abominations. So what? Now you want to take over this land, right? Let's entertain the notion that this devil does, some way, somehow feel bad and gets guilt tripped into giving you back North America. So what are you gonna do about all the sodomites? What are you gonna do about the adulterous people? What are you gonna do about spiritual wickedness? What are you gonna do about these things? Nothing, because these are also other factors that's pissing off the creator, man. Okay? And at the end of the day, these lands were not ours to begin with. All right? Yeah, you were the first ones that inhabited this land. All right? After the Assyrian captivity, you came over here on ships with the so-called Latinos, right? But guess what, man? Our original lands is the land of Israel. Okay? And that's where we're going to end up. That's where we're going. All right? Starting with the elect. Lord willing, we're of that number. Okay? So, anyways, I'm going to read this again. Micah 2:10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. Exactly. All right? All them land back groups, of them little movements. All right? It's all in vain, man. It's all in vain. Because this place is going to be destroyed. So, why would you want to regain control of a sinking ship, so to speak? So anyways, let's go. Here it is. The Lord is preparing a bigger ship for us. You know what I'm saying? A more glorious, a bigger ship, and you want control over this pitiful, raft that's getting ready to sink. So anyways, going back to the other scripture I was going to bring out. All right, the book of Job. And matter of fact, no, it's not Job chapter 5. There's another one that just came to mind I'm going to bring out right now. All right, who's... Zechariah chapter 11 and 5. All right, we're going to bring it out on this one. Let me see. The book of Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5, and it reads, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, right? And right now, these devils are our possessors, man, because they have power over us. And that includes you so-called Native Americans, man. You don't have the power for anything, man. This devil done went and built a pipeline through your lands. After all your protesting, after all your begging and pleading not to do it. And that should be a wake-up call to y'all to stop cleaving onto these lands, man. These lands are going to be destroyed. Forget these lands. We're looking for a new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Here it is, you want to take America back. There's children being sacrificed right now. There are agendas out there that's going against nature, going against the way the Creator wants things to be. And I say the Creator as in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, the Heavenly Father, man. All right, but you so focused on the lands. We have to get our lands back. Our lands back. This place is about to be destroyed, man. Zechariah 11 and 5, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, right? For I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not, right? Yeah, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, right? Is that not what Thanksgiving is? Right? Is that not what Thanksgiving is? Right? How they were praying God, praising the Lord, for them destroying and slaughtering the so-called Native Americans. And why were they doing this thing? Because of a thing called manifest destiny. All right. Let's get into that. Manifest destiny. Okay. All right, hold on. Let me right here. 'Cause, 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 All right, this is the proper definition of it, or a proper, understanding of it. All right, so manifest destiny is a phrase coined in 1845. All right, give me a second. All right, in 1845 is the idea that the United States is destined by the Most High, right, by God. Its advocates believed to expand its dominion and spread across let's like a dominion and spread democracy and capitalism across the entire North American continent. All right, the philosophy drove 19th century U.S. territorial expansion and was used to justify the forced removal of Native Americans and other groups from their homes. The rapid expansion of the United States intensified the issue of slavery as new states were added to the new union, leading to the outbreak of the Civil War, right? So, Salakia. Yeah, so that's what the manifest destiny is. But whose manifest destiny is it? It's this devil's manifest destiny, man. Esau's manifest destiny. Yeah, and it was true. It is true. Okay, because guess what? Let's go into the curses. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 28. All right, and I believe it's in the 40s. All right. So the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 49, and it reads, "And Yahweh Shemi Hawashai shall bring a nation against thee from afar," right? "From the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth," right? And that's an indicator as to who this was talking about. Because remember, we read in Obadiah that who exalts themselves as the eagle? Esau, man. Because that whole book is concerning these devils, these Edomites. Okay? So what does it say? As swift as the eagle flieth, right? A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, right? Because they were speaking Latin-based languages. All right? And these were the Edomites that this is talking about, that the Lord sent against us. All right? A nation of fierce countenance, right? Which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young, right? And did not we just read that they slaughtered men, women, and children of the tribe of these so-called Native Americans, the tribe of Gad? And they did that unto all the 12 tribes of Israel, man. Unto the so-called Negroes, the so-called Latinos, and you so-called Native Americans. All right, so verse 51, "And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle, the fruit of thy land, until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee." Right? Meaning he's going to take everything from you, man. Take everything from you. You know, I believe that's what led to a more recent slaughter. All right, let me see. Ghost Dance. Man, they got a song called Ghost Dance Macabre. That's crazy. Ghost Dance Massacre. Wounded Knee. Right. So you had this one. All right, this is another a massacre of the so-called Native Americans, man. The massacre of Wounded Knee. Basically, it was based around it was a controversy that happened in 1890. You know, where so-called Native Americans were having this dance. All right, now I'm not too well versed in the details of these dances and what happened, but one thing I do know is that, you know, they right here, all right, right there, it says, "In the west a drought had baked the earth bare. Indian reservations occupied poor land that had little game and few wild plants of any use. In the withering heat, what grass was left by cattle and sheep, most of them owned by white ranchers, right, quickly shriveled. Scarce game vanished. By 1885, Many Indians had turned their hand to farming, but in 1890 their crops wilted and starvation, that old monster circled the camps, right? And these are the conditions that suck it. Yeah, these are the conditions that these devils left, you so-called Native Americans in, man. You know? These the conditions, man, all marginalized in the plains. Look at this picture, man. Look at this environment. What future is there, man? All right? What future is there, man? There's no future, because that's the devil, man. All right? He has that insatiable thirst, as we read. Would robbers not steal till they had enough? Right? Wouldn't the grape gatherers leave some? Right? But no, these devils went and took everything, man. And that is something that they don't have, that they don't display towards other other ethnicities, man, other nations. Like, I don't mean to say ethnicities, but that is something that they don't display towards other nations, because here it is. You have this place called these islands, the Terminal Islands, where you got this group of fucking cannibalistic people that live there. Right now, and I forget exactly what nation it is. All right, but this devil doesn't do anything to them. Right, but here it is for the tribe of Gad. Dang, man. Don't even let them buck up if you're trying to build a pipeline through their land. Don't even let them do any of that. No, they'd still gonna build that pipeline, man. Here it is. They done took everything from y'all, and they still jacking y'all up. And that includes you so-called Latinos, and that includes you so-called Negroes as well, man. Because he has that perpetual hatred against you. All right. But anyways, just, bringing this out, just to prove that, just to prove the scriptures, man, prove the prophecies, and ultimately show the truth behind these holidays. Okay. And hence why this devil is a hypocrite, man. All right. So the book of Job, chapter 20, verse 4. And it reads, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, right? Because all these things that is happening was destined to happen since the beginning of time. Okay, since Genesis. All right, it was all forewritten, it was all foretold. Think of this as a movie playing out. Okay, so continuing on, it says, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short. All right, I'm going to read this again. That the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment, right? This is talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. His triumphing is short. All right, yeah, he has triumphed over us. He has won over us. He destroyed, as it is written in the book of Genesis, chapter 49. Let me see, right there. All right, what does it say? Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Right, that troop was the U.S. Cavalry. All right, I forgot the exact, division or fucking battalion of them. I don't know what, unit they were called, but that's what it is. All right, that's what happened. The troop overcame the tribe of Gad. All right, but what else? But he shall overcome at the last, right? At the last, the Hashem Yahushua is going to raise up the elect of the tribe of Gad. Okay? Really, the elect out of all the nations of Israel. And we're going to triumph over these devils, man. Lord willing, we're of that number, Salaki, but we're going to triumph over these devils, man. All right? We're going to triumph over them, man. Okay, a big payback is coming. All right? So anyways, continuing on. And it reads, all right, the joy of a hypocrite but for a moment. Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, unto the heavens. Let me read this again. All right. Job chapter 20, verse 4. And it reads, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. Right. And that goes into this devil's triumphing over us, and not just that, but the joy of the hypocrite, right? Because he's a hypocrite, man. Okay, here it is. They're getting on Kanye West and Kyrie Irving's and certain celebrities for speaking out against him and ultimately, speaking out against his agendas, so on and so forth, right? But look at all the damage they did to our people, man. Look at all the real damage they did to the children of Israel, man. All right? That's why we not to feel bad for these devils, man. And the funny thing is, you probably got some so-called Native Americans out there that want to be hand in hand with the small hats, man, because they feel that they share a common cause when it comes to being oppressed and whatnot. Man, straight out your mind, man. Straight through. Here it is. These small hats own all the corporations in America, in Babylon. And you try to extend your hand to them. They look at you as a fucking joke. But you rather stand up for them than for what is right. But that just goes to show. The blind lead the blind and they will fall into a ditch. This thing is ultimately only for those that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai chooses. Okay, so if you understand these words and you understand this thing and your spirit vibes with this thing, your spirit bears witness that this is the truth, guess what? You might be of the elect. All right. But anyways, verse 5, that the triumphing of the wicked is short and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment, right? All right. Yeah, this devil's rulership, his little parade, his whole dominion, all his power, it's only for a moment, man, because he's getting ready to be brought down. All right, that big payback is coming. Okay, as it is written in the book of, let me see, the book of Zechariah, chapter 1, verse, not chapter 1, chapter 2 and 8. All right, what does it say? For thus saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushua of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you, right? For he that touches you touches the apple of his eye. Exactly. You so-called Native Americans, man. You're part of the 12 tribes of Israel. That makes you part of the apple of the Heavenly Father's eye, the Creator's eye. We're the chosen people, the so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. We are the chosen people. We are his people. We are his children. And we've been dealt wrong and been done so much damage at the hands of these other nations. And guess what? There's a recompense coming for that. Verse 9. For behold, I will shake mine hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants. And ye shall know that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua of hosts hath sent me. Exactly. That's what's getting ready to happen, man. They're going to be a spoil. These so-called white people and these other nations are going to be a spoil unto us, man. Though when we're of that number. Okay, because we're gonna get raised up. We're gonna come for these devils, man. We're gonna come for these nations, man. All right. So with that, I'm gonna say, Call halal Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Ruach HaKodash for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. I might rename the title. Okay, but with that, I'm gonna say Shalom. On to the next.